Hey Zach, this is Bigfoot Trailers. So, Bigfoot Trailers has, at this particular factory, which is the main factory location, we have 3 buildings. The right here are 2 of them. I'm going to walk you right into the kind of where the process starts at Bigfoot. You can see here there's a stack of trailers getting to go out to Tropic Trailers. There's a steel truck at the same time dropping off steel. I talked to you about the bundles of steel that are on racks, different sizes. Those are some of them right there. But it all starts in the sales office. We sell about half of my salesman's not in here. We sell about half of our trailers retail, and the other half go to a couple of dealers, Tropic Trailers being the biggest one down in Fort Myers. And we have another dealer, Right Trailers, and you can come in. I'm just doing a little video for the software guys, kind of telling them our process. So about half the trailers go to the dealers, half the trailers go retail. We keep a separate price list in Excel, which I think he has right up on right here, sitting in front of him all day long, ready to go. Dave sells all the trailers. He schedules the loads. He pretty much does anything that has to do with when the trailers are done, getting them out of here and getting them paid for. But anyway, let's see, is there anything else to say about this? Pretty much that's it. Dave's big problems are knowing when the trailers are going to be done, and his big problem is making sure that the guys will actually build what he needs when he needs it, when he puts the work orders in or when he puts the sales orders in. That's one of his 2 big problems that we're hoping to solve with NetSuites. Most of the guys are gone, so it's going to be a nice time to do a video. Bad, so you don't get to see them working, but good because it won't be quite as noisy. But in the Jig Building, this is weld 1, and we have 3 separate jigs. There's a big blue one in the back end. There's this jig, and there's this jig. Each one of the jigs makes different model trailers. Each jig has 1 guy working on it, and he builds a certain number of trailers each day. So this guy working right here is Brandon. He builds, his goal is to build about 1.5 deck over trailers per day. That's our monster model deck over. And as you can see, looking at the jig here, you've got here's the cross members, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. His cross members for deck overs are like 95-inch. The 6-inch channel pieces that make up the main rail of the trailer. He's got components that make up the ramp holder of the trailer. He's got little parts that we make in the sheet metal department, like this little triangle gusset that the light goes in. The rear end of the trailer gets cut in the sheet metal cut department. He takes all those components and welds them all together. Here's a rack where all these parts that he uses or the guys in this department use. You can see over here is couplers that come directly from the manufacturer that makes the couplers. We order everything in big quantities. These are hanger kits. The hanger kit is what holds the axles onto the trailer, all the little parts all in a kit. The big thing about this department is the goal is that when Brandon gets done with a trailer, he'll mark it on his cell phone or whatever device and say that this part of the trailer's been done. And then that should trigger the next person to do their job, which would be weld 2. When Brandon's done with the trailer, they're going to come out here into this area, which usually has about 7 or 8, 10 trailers in it at any given moment. These are the chassis that are waiting to go into weld 2. This is raw steel. You see raw steel stock there. There's raw steel stocked here. These are more components that get made by the cut guys. This is all raw steel, different sizes, that gets cut up in this robot saw here. It's an automatic, fully automatic bandsaw. It comes and pulls the steel bundles in. He can cut small amounts of steel, but mostly this thing cuts bundles of steel and makes all different kind of components. Like those kind of components you see right there, like the pins for the ramps that he cuts up, you know, bundles of that solid rod at the same time and then stacks it for the guys to make parts, to make trailers out of. Here's a bunch of jacks. Just outside, and we're going into the finished weld building. A lot of the little parts that they use that are cut from long stock steel, ramp rungs and little light boxes and tubes and stuff like that are going to be right out in front of their work area. These guys in this department are going to take the trailer and do everything that can't be done in the jig. He's going to weld the tops of things that you can't get to, like this right here. You can't weld it in the jig. He welds the jack on. He welds rub rail on the sides of the trailer, which is not there yet. Stake pockets, D-rings, makes the actual ramps and assembles them. There's the ramp jig right there where he makes his ramps that will go on the trailer. And as we discussed, the ramps are made for each trailer in this department when he's doing the finish work for that trailer. It's not a separate department. Here's another guy, one of the three finish weld departments. It looks to him like he's getting ready to weld a plate over the wheels of a deck over. Here is where we stock all the sheet metal. There's some on the floor, different sizes, and then a lot of the sheet metal is in these racks, and it gets put into these plasma tables right here and here, and gets cut into either little components, little pieces like you see here. That's a ramp hinge. That's a different type of ramp hook. There's the ramp hinge that goes on the trailer side. He makes all those parts. He makes these parts and then bends them in the brake. Right there is a brake that bends the parts. And ultimately it ends up looking like this front end of a deck over, or the rear end of a deck over. Here's a rack of all these different parts. So we keep all the parts over here, the different little parts, and this way the guy that makes all these parts can see when to make them and when he's getting low on different parts, because they're all right here in his department, kind of like little storage bins. He's actually constantly making parts just to keep up, because they're constantly pulling them out of here. The big question is how do you guys manage turning those sheets, which we order in stacks, into all these little parts? Is that going to happen in the computer or not? Here's some ramps getting ready to go into paint. These are trailers that are being prepped to go into paint. We don't call that a department. That's just part of the paint department, the prep of the trailer. So once the trailer's totally finished, it will go into this paint booth out here, and it'll get painted, and it goes straight from there right out here. There's a bunch of trailers waiting to get sold or shipped out back down the hill here. Here's all the tires. We're coming back to the wood department, where the wood department's gonna put the decals on He's gonna put the tires on. He's gonna put the wood on the trailer. I guess I forgot to tell you that it goes through the wire department first, but there's only a couple components part-wise that go into that. Could almost be really the wire department can almost be in the computer the same as the wood department. But anyway, we bring them into this tent here, and he puts the wood on them, cuts it to fit. We use the screws and the wood, and we consume the decals that go on the trailers like this. They get bought in bulk. Those decals like that get bought in bulk, and he uses a lot of different hardware in this department. Here's a whole pallet of nuts and bolts that just came in. So this is the wood department, and I'm showing you this out of order, but the wire guy wires the trailers in this tent over here. We have about 3 different wiring harnesses that fit all the trailers that we have made for us by a wiring harness company in China that makes hundreds and hundreds of them for us. And they send us the lights and the harnesses, and you can see Ruben over there. He likes to work outside. He doesn't like to work in his tent. That way he can wire several trailers all simultaneously. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what it is to build a trailer here. It goes through those processes. Every single one goes through the same processes. My goal, as I explained to the sales department with Net Suites, is that we would be able to manage, let's say this particular trailer right here needs to be done. Back up. The problem we're having right now is, I explained to you when we were on the phone, the guys in the different departments like to pick what they want to build. There's a bunch of trailers waiting to go in to finish weld. There's a bunch of work orders waiting to go into the jig weld department. And we have to have a schedule. So either the salesman or the production manager can literally go in and say, you know, this jig's going to build these 2 trailers today, these 2 trailers tomorrow, these 2 trailers the next day. And when they're done, they need to get scheduled to go into the next department. And that part should be automated from then on. I don't want to have to schedule out every trailer that gets wired. I don't want to manually have to schedule out every trailer that goes into the paint department. But we definitely need a way to be able to once the process is started, for each guy to know which trailers are on his list to be done. Every trailer that gets painted should be on that next day should be on the wood guy's docket of trailers that need to be done. He should be able to see that on a schedule and know that these are the trailers that are needing to be done. I should be able to see, as the owner, at the end of the day or at the end of the week, how many trailers the wood guy did. Did he keep up with the paint department every day, or did he not keep up with the paint department every day? I need that kind of visibility in order to run the company the way I want to run it. Example, the wood guy, he works at 2 in the morning here until around 9 in the morning, and then he's gone all day. Often I don't know that he's behind until he's 11, 12 trailers behind. Well, we build 6 trailers every day, so if he's behind 11 trailers, he's several days from being caught up, and I have all this money tied up in trailer chassis sitting out front painted that aren't ready to sell. I need to be able to he needs to be able to see these are the trailers that the paint department said is done and painted and ready to go into wood, and I need to be able to see what the performance is every day by each department to make sure that they are putting out what they're putting out. Another big important thing that we talked about during the meeting is as the trailers go through the different departments, it needs to relieve the inventory. So as soon as the finish weld guy is done building his trailer, it needs to pull all that stuff out of raw goods and trigger the computer to know that we need to order more steel. At the very end of the process, when the tires are put on in the wood department and he marks it done, it needs to pull the decals out of inventory. It needs to pull the tires out of inventory and trigger the computer that, hey, tires are at this level and need to be reordered. And also, it should be able to see on reports what has been done. We haven't talked about quality control checks yet either, that I understand NetSuites is supposed to be really awesome at managing. And there's 2 stages where we want a quality check. One is after the weld 2, and one is at the very end of the process. And the production manager should have a list on his phone or whatever his device that says, you know, these 3 trailers are waiting for approval before they can go to the work orders can go to the paint department, for example. So he inspects the trailer that day, the 6 trailers that got finished. He marks in the computer that he inspected them, and then it tells the paint department that those 6 trailers are ready to go to paint. Hopefully that's enough for this part of the process laid out.